Hello, welcome to Teledyne ISCO's TWDI data packages. Today we are very lucky to be joined by Dennis McGinnis, our TWI product specialist. I'd like to remind you of a couple of things. If you have any questions, feel free to enter them into the questions box and we will get to those later. If we run out of time, those questions will be answered via email. If you happen to have any issues with your video or audio, please leave the presentation and rejoin. Oftentimes, that will clear up the matter. So with that, I'm happy to announce that Dennis McGinnis is here to teach us about our new packages.
Okay, thank you, Sharon. So as Sharon mentioned, today we are going to discuss the TWDI data packages. And the point of these packages is really the fact that what customers are looking for at the end of the day of doing any type of study and going through all the hard work, at the end of the day, what we're trying to get is the data. Focusing on the data allows us to provide numbers that are inclusive to our final outcome or our reports. So what we've done is we've created these data packages, and the idea is to take all the stress out of making sure you have the correct equipment purchased or set up for your project. So what we've done is we've basically made these products or these packages to be all inclusive, meaning they're going to have everything included that you're going to need for your project or study. So we're going to include everything from meters to the sensors to the modems and the cellular package to move that data, as well as server space and access to the server, along with the analysis tools that will then, at the end of the day, give you automated reports. So that's what we're going to discuss today, the advantages of these and what these packages include. So while we do have a number of different packages, it is suited to what your needs are. So again, the idea, everything's included for the equipment in the field to work, and at the end of the day, to get your data into a report that you can then use. So we have a number of different types of meters and sensors that are going to be available. We do allow for overnight shipping of this hardware if there's any issues in the field. So the idea for some of the advantages of why you would go this route is if you have any issues with anything from the sensor to the meter, we can overnight that type of replacement equipment to you at no charge. This is going to allow you to have less downtime at no extra repair charges either, because you're just going to ship the old stuff back and we're going to ship the new stuff back to you and you'll be up and running. The other thing we're going to provide is the cell modem in every one of our meters, along with the data package that go with them. So there's no more, calling in to your service provider, your cell service provider, whether that be Verizon or AT&T or whoever you're using, to try to figure out what the APN is and making sure you get the right data plans. We're going to cover all that for you. We have it all set up. So the idea is everything's going to be pre-programmed, ready to go. When you go out into the field and you put the equipment in, it's up and running. So basically the idea here is if you have any cellular issues, you don't need to go to your cell provider. You can come to us directly. We will know exactly everything that you have and everything that you need in your account to make sure you can get up and running quickly if you run into any problems. So everything from hardware to even the cellular service, we're going to have you covered. Finally, we're also going to include your data analysis tools, and this is going to be via the way FlowLink Cipher. So FlowLink Cipher is our cloud-based software. It allows you to go ahead and view the data anywhere at any time. And the idea here is you're going to have the ability to get those end results right at your desk. So when you're out in the field, you got everything installed, ready to go. At the end of the day, you're logging in and your data is there for you. Cipher also brings the ability to do automated reports. So whether if you want to go in and just do manual reports on the fly on the data you have, we can also generate automated reports. And I'm going to show some of those features when we talk about FlowLink Cipher later in the presentation. But for now, this is kind of the big picture of what's included. So we're going to include the flow meter, the sensors, the cell modems and their data plans, as well as the server and the access to that from your own laptop. You get in there and you get all your data. So at the end of the day, again, what we're reaching for is the data. So when you're paying for these packages, really what you're paying for at the end of the day is to have this data in your hands. So we have a variety of equipment packages available. With that, we have the DuraTracker, and then we have the DuraTracker EX for explosion-proof applications. Then we have your signature meter as well for your if you have something more permanent mounted that doesn't need to be portable. As far as sensors, we include the rain gauge as an option, the 350EX AV sensor, which is a contact sensor, the ultrasonic 310 EX sensor, and then both laser sensors are available, the 360 and the 360EX, which again is our explosive rated laser. Now, with the packages that we have that has a mix match of all of these things, one thing I do want to point out is that we're not going to really know if you are going to be needing this as a battery or AC powered application. So that's one thing we're going to need to know as far as like the signature goes. And technically you could AC power the DuraTracker as well. But so we're going to need to know as far as, if you're going AC power or if you're going to go batteries. So batteries will have to be ordered separately if you're going to go with the battery option. And the sensor mount. We don't know what kind of pipe you're going to put these in. So as far as your application goes, are you going to be, mounting this in a square culvert or a round pipe, or maybe you're going to be hanging this over a bridge? The idea here is we're going to leave that option open at the time of ordering. So those are the two things we're going to need to know when you order is we'll have to, add batteries or an AC power supply to the to the package, or what type of sensor mounting you plan on using. So those are two things that are not going to be included in the packages. I just wanted to point that out. But otherwise, everything you see here on the screen, we will have available for you to use for whatever project you may come across. So talking about the sensors and the meters here, finally we've got the Cypher side. So once the cell package moves that data up into the Cypher, what Cypher is going to bring to you again is it's a cloud-based software. And the idea is you can access this data from any place that you have an internet connection with a phone, tablet, or laptop. Cypher does include innovative and intuitive analysis tools, and we have the ability to automate the reports if needed. Again, we can still do manual, but we can automate them as well, so they just show up at your mailbox. Being a cloud-based server, it is easier to maintain. In other words, you don't need to have IT involved to install or remove software. Anytime there's an update, those are free and automatic as well because they're cloud-based. We don't have to put any software on your computer to access the cloud server because you're going to be using a browser like Chrome. By using Chrome as a browser, you're not installing any other software that has to be on the laptop or computer that needs to be updated because all that's going to be in the cloud, and you're just using a browser to access that data. Another key feature that we like to point out for Cypher is because it is a cloud-based, it's not on a local network. This actually is helpful when it comes to hackers or malware or those type of issues that a lot of like government or municipalities run into. Because it is on a separate server located off-site, that's our responsibility. We will keep the data safe. We will keep it backed up. If there's any problems that happen, we will restore the databases back up and functioning. So basically, it takes that worrisome off the IT shoulders. So the heavy lifting is done by us for that. So Cypher does bring a lot to the table as far as all the data analysis tools, as well as the security and keeping it up to date. So some common jobs suited for the TWDI over just buying the equipment outright is if you need the equipment quickly and you don't have to have time to go through the formal purchasing process that a company or utility may require, we can deliver this stuff short notice, typically within 24 to 48 hours. So it kind of speeds things up that way because you're not actually buying the equipment long term. You're basically using it for a project and this package is used. And so we can get that out to you without having to, go through the cumbersome of trying to get, a purchase order for purchasing equipment. Where they're used typically, a good a good example would be the water-based epidemiology, which would be your COVID or opioid detection. Having a flow meter trigger these type of studies is basically, it gives you defensible data. So if anything comes into question, these flow meters will have that data stored with them. And then of course on your reports, all that is included with that. It's great for large flow studies, stormwater monitoring, and long-term projects. The idea here is less data collection, because it's going to be automated through the cell service up into the cloud, and therefore less hardware hassles, because we are supplying all the hardware in a single package. And then again, going back to the previous comments, if you have any hardware issues, we're going to get those replacements, if needed, out right away. So basically, I created this brief animation for those not familiar with the process of getting data from the media source to the end result of the analysis and reporting tools. So it starts with the meters, with the sensors reading the media and then relaying that information to the meter. The meter will then calculate and store that data, and then it is handed off to the cellular network. The cellular network then sends that data over the internet to the cloud server, where the data is securely stored. And then finally, the end user can log into the Cypher site using the applied analysis tools to analyze and then manufacture reports. In both these situations, we've got a DuraTrack or a signature can both do this with the modems built in, and again with the cell package already pre-set up for you to go ahead and go to your server, your Cypher server, and then finally you get the data. So this actually is the best representation of the TWDI data package. You get everything from the sensor to the meter, the cell service, the cloud storage, as well as access right there at your main computer. So for me, this actually encapsulates everything that the TWDI or TWDI brings to the table, as far as the equipment, the service, and the ability for you to actually, at the end of the day, again, stressing the fact that every study that you're working on, the one thing that everybody wants at the end of the day is that data. So the rest of the stuff, we're trying to make that easy. We are literally taking the hard out of hardware, because we are getting the hardware taken care of, making sure you have the right equipment for the right job, already pre-ordered up into the same package. We've got your cell service, we've got your cell modems and your cell service already set up. We've got a Cypher account set up for you. So when you log in, you access it, it's there. And so the idea then is we can even move further to help you with your analysis, as far as setting up automated reports for those reports to go out. So that is kind of a synopsis of the hardware and the cell service and the Cypher servers, and then getting the reports. The next part I want to show you is actually kind of do a quick Cypher demonstration to show you, at the end of the day, when it's back in your office and you're actually looking at the data, how Cypher can be used to actually look at that data and get what you need out of it. So to start off with, when you log into Cypher, it can start you on your dashboard. And so in this case here, I set up a little demonstration dashboard. It has a number of sites listed here. As you can see, I've got some site gadgets. This basically just shows live ongoing data with sites that are already out in the field. Anything that's an alarm already has the little red hue around them to let me know. It kind of draws attention that this site has an alarm condition. Those alarms can be set up under the alarm screen over here on the left. So you can set it up if a particular level's reached, or a flow rate's reached, or batteries are low, sensor is covered over with with silt or whatnot, giving you errors. So the idea here is we can alarm off of many conditions that are being read, so you can act on those if needed be. But more importantly, we have your live data right here on the screen. You'll notice down below here, I've also got some graphs built up. Here I've got a site that has an I&I event going on. I've got some rain data with my regular storm event showing up in green, and my dry data, my dry areas being repeated in the red. And then whatever's left over here, that is my I&I in the blue. And so I've got this graph already listed here. I can see right away what's going on. I got my rain with the purple going upside down here. So I've got the rain. You can see the rain's coming in, the storm's coming up, and this is the stuff that's actually getting or leaking into my pipes. If I want to get to this site and I'm looking at this and I can see, oh yeah, this is really, this has just happened, I want to check it out, I can actually just jump to this graph Just clicking on this jumps me to that graph, and now I've got all my graphing tools here. I can look at the raw data and sort of table format if I want to look at that. And finally, if I want to export these out, I can export them as a PDF, which will include the graph, or I can export as a CSV where I just have the raw data. So the dashboard is a very quick, easy way of looking at projects that are ongoing, something you're looking at right now that you want to be updated on. I've got another graph here with 3 different meters in one pane, and I can simply move over my mouse over each one of these to see what the readings are. And again, I can also jump to that graph as well just by using the jump to graphs icon there. Included on the dashboard, I've also got my batteries here. I can sort them from high to low, so I know which sites need to be out there and get new batteries in them because they're going to get pretty low before they stop working or the modems quit pushing in. Also, I can do everything from scatter plots to more graph gauges or site graphs. Here I've got some total flow reports. And then finally at the bottom, I've got an alarm gadget as well as a silent alarm gadget. This basically allows me to look at all my sites that are an alarm in one location. So here you can see Apple Tree and Elba Avenue, which are showing alarm up here. They're in red. They're actually in that list. So basically the idea, again, one-stop shop. I can see everything I need to look at as far as the data I want to focus on, as well as anything with alarms, batteries, things like that. It's basically allows me to jump in here and see the stuff that I need to see that's important to me. And each one of these dashboards is user defined. Every user can set their own dashboard the way they want, and they can share them if they want to share them with other coworkers. But it's not necessary if they don't want to. They can just keep them as they want. And there's no number or no limit to the number of dashboards you can have. You could set up a number of dashboards as far as different projects. But again, the idea here is we're trying to make a tool here for you to get the data you need, so at the end of the day, you've got the numbers that you need to report. I'll touch briefly on a couple other screens if you're not familiar with Cypher. The map screen, you can put in coordinates for each location's at. The colors, actually, the color codes match up with the dashboard had with the red hue around them, meaning they're an alarm. A yellow hue around the dashboard icons on the last screen also here shows that a site failed to push in. So we have some alarms on that. If a site did not push in within 24 hours or it's user settable, maybe you have it if it doesn't push in within 4 hours, you want to know. That's all programmable within the software. And then green means everything's good. And then if you have any inactive sites that you've deactivated, you can get those off the map as well. Site screen just shows you all the sites that you have for your account. Pretty basic, shows you, what sites you have, when the last time they pushed in, what their current battery voltages are, and there's a number of shortcuts here as well. Alarms, this allows us to go ahead and set up alarms based upon the equipment in the field. So I can actually go in here and set up like high level alarms or high flow alarms, low battery alarms. All these type of alarms come in here, and this is what triggers those little red hues around the site gadgets on the dashboard or set up on the map to go red. Any of these type of alarms that kick in will trigger that. If you want to be subscribed to it, you can check on these, and then not only will it show up on your dashboard, but you can get emails and or text messages right to your phone when these occurrences happen. And so I can see right here, okay, my Apple Tree has a high flow alarm. It just comes right in if I subscribe to it. The analysis screen is where it saves all your graphs. So what's really nice about this is once you build up your graph, like here, I've got this 3-meter project I got set up. I got 3 different meters coming into a single graph. You might recognize this being back here on the dashboard. I had the exact same graph being displayed here. So I should show you how you can click on this and jump to that. Well, also, if I log in and go straight to my analysis screen, I can have my graphs right here ready for me, and I simply just click on them and it jumps to it. So what's nice about this is if I have this graph set up to show, in this case, I have it showing always last week's data. So if I log in here at any time this week and I open this graph, it's going to open last week's data for me. It's relative, so it's always going to be last week's data. From here, manually wise, I can just hit the CSV, export it out. I can say, oh, I want to include a summary table or not, and save it. It'll go ahead and download that and put it right onto my my downloads folder. Lickety split. So really, it's like 4 clicks. I can get a graph report out. So if I already have this set up like I do, and I log in, it's going to start you on the dashboard. And because that's a relative graph that's going to show up every last week, I can literally just go 1 click to analysis, 2 click to open it up, 3 click to choose which one I want, and the 4th one is to actually hit the save button. And that's it. So within 4 clicks, I have my report and my data in my file, which it's opened up screen. Let me just drag that over here once it opens. And so with all that data intact, I have my CSV file that I can then email out if needed. Let me just grab this guy, move him over here. So you can see here, I've got my date, timestamp, all my raw data from all 3 of those sites, in which case I could attach that to an email and send it out or share it with my colleagues. But the idea here is, again, it's a quick, easy way of getting the data that you need in one location. And I can do that with any one of my graphs that I have saved. So my INI graph I have for ELBA, I can just open that up. And here's my everything broken down up here with my off flow rate, my rain gauge information, dry weather. So again, very powerful analysis tool, very easy to get reports out, whether I want it to be PDF or whether I want it to be a CSV. In either case, I can choose which one I want and it gets out to me. Now, if that wasn't easy enough, we also have the ability to set up reports. So if I want to set up a report, here I've got already got my report set up for my Storm INI, and it saves it here. Anybody can log in here and get that same report, PDF or CSV. Or if I set up a template, like a last month report here, or here I have a last month for flow rate, min, max, average, I can run this report with any one of my sites that I have. So I have a template here, and all I do is just select the site I want, and it fills in the rest for me based upon that template. So I already have my min, max, average already set up. It's always set for last month, broken down daily. And I'm literally just hitting next, next, next. Then finally, I just hit preview. And then after the preview, I can download it or save it. But the point is, with the reports, it's another way of getting your reports out made quickly by already having them pre-set up in here. And then finally, what I think is one of the better features is the scheduler. The scheduler can take those same reports I just showed you, and I can have those automatically emailed out. So here I've got some examples. I have that ELBA site with the INI study. Here I've got this report, and I actually have this report going out every first day of the month. So at the beginning of every month at 7 a.m., it's going to shoot out that graph report that I had over an analysis. It's going to set it out as a table for me to see all my raw data. And all I got to do is subscribe to it, and then it would then send that out at 7 a.m. on the first day of every month. On top of that, I have another report I want to send out every week. This is a weekly report I have out set up for my 3-site projection. So those 3 sites, this one right here I have set this up to do a weekly. So it always shows last week. And so on the Monday of every morning, it's going to shoot out on that Monday last week's report of those 3 sites. All I'm really doing once I set this up then is I'm coming into my desk, I open up my email, and there my reports are. They're just sitting in my inbox. I can open them up, I got my raw data, and I can send those off. If there's any concerns with the data, I can simply log into Cypher, I can jump right over to analysis, I can open that same very graph, and I can see what's going on. What is the discrepancy that I'm seeing in this report? Straight to that date, I can zoom out, I can move over, I can do whatever I need to get to that raw data to find out why that anomaly happened in the report. But once the scheduler is set up, what I'm trying to point out here is once the scheduler is set up and that stuff is ready to go, really I just log in the morning and my reports are waiting for me in my inbox. Meters are out there doing their job. Modems are sending the data via the cell service up to the server. This software is now creating those reports for your raw numbers waiting in your inbox. You open it up, there they are. So at the end of the day, the idea here is you're paying for data, which is the thing that everybody really wants at the end of the day. So with that, I want to show you some of the packages we have available. So we've got everything here from DuraTracker packages to the DuraTracker EX packages. We have signatures and we have the rain gauge packages. And you can see here via each part number is individual depending on what you want included in there. So this particular one here, I have a DuraTracker with a 350 EX and a 310. So I have an AV sensor with an ultrasonic. It includes the modem. It includes the antenna, all the sensors, the cell package, and your Cypher account. Batteries and mounting are not included, which I mentioned before, because that's going to be very dependent on your site. But at the end of the day, we have all these different packages available to you, so we can find the right piece for your project. And again, one part number does it all. We have everything set up for you, so you can just simply log in and run with it. So hopefully this quick presentation of what TWDI packages brings to the table helps you in the future projects that you have. If you need an all-inclusive one part number, bam, I'm set up. Everything's going to be ready to go when it ships out the door. You just go out and put it in the field, set up your pipe sizes, walk away, show up at your office, log into your cipher, and there it is. So it's for ease to get the data that you need at the end of the day very easily. So with that, I got a few more minutes here to open myself up for some questions. So again, as Sharon said, if you have any questions, go ahead and just add those into the question box there, and I'll read a few here. Let's see. One of the questions is the cipher licenses. How many licenses do you get? Okay, so the cipher licenses for every package you purchase, so that package includes that 1 meter, we're going to give you, that meter gets its own license. So if you order 3 different meters, you're going to get 3 licenses. So we're going to make sure you're only paying for the number of licenses that you need based upon the number of meters that you're getting. So it's going to be basically 1 license per package is the short answer to that. But basically, this is going to allow you, we're basically making sure that, yes, you will have access to your sites, whether you have 1 package or 20 packages. We will have the right number of licenses for your cipher account to meet each one of those packages needs. Another question. Okay, so what is the time frame for the TWI packages? Right now, they are 1-year packages. So when you get that package, you have the use of all that equipment for an entire year. Okay. Can I move the equipment to a different location during the study? Absolutely. So the equipment isn't tied to a project. Obviously, you can tie it to a project. But for that whole year that you've got it, you can absolutely move that around. If you have the equipment, at site A and you need to move it over to site B, all we'll simply do is like we would any other time, we'd go into Cipher and we would deactivate that location because you're not going to keep it there anymore at location A. So we would deactivate it in Cipher, which is going to free up that 1 license for that site. You would move that site equipment to site B. And then again, it's already set up to push. All you would need to do is basically change the site name in the meter so it knows it's a new site. And obviously anything that goes along with that, pipe size and shape. So you change that in the meter. When it pushes into Cipher, there it is. There's your data for your new site. And the nice thing about that also, by deactivating your site A in my example and reactivating as site B, site A data is still in the server for you. So you can still access that data that you did record while it was site A. Now it's not active, so no new data is going to come in, but that's okay because it's coming in as site B now. But yeah, you can move this around as long as you need to, and we're not going to, we're not charging based upon where the location is. The package is yours, the equipment is yours for that 1 year, and again, some of the advantages of that, you move it from another site, you bounce it around, something's not working when you get to their site, no problem, give us a call. We'll get you new replacement equipment out overnight it to you and get that back in your possession, so very little downtime. Okay. All right, I got another question. Okay, how many people can access Cipher with the TWDI? Cipher basically as a whole, we have no limitation on number of users that can log in. So while we are giving you a single license per site per package, the number of people that can log in and view that data is unlimited. It is your Cipher account. That site belongs to you, so you can actually choose who you want to have access to that. Because this is through the TWDI system and we're maintaining those site licenses for you and making sure the data is up and running for you when you're getting there, we would have you get a hold of us to let us know that, hey, I would like so and so and this guy and that guy to go ahead and have access to my site as well. In which case, we would then go in and add those email addresses and send those invites out to people. So again, no limitation on the number of people you want to have access to the sites that are being pushed in. So yeah, your call on that. With that, guys, kind of running out of time here on the questions. I'm going to go ahead and pass over the closing statement to Sharon. And I just want to, again, thank you for your guys' time, and hope to hear from you all soon. If you have any questions, obviously use any of the shortcuts here. You also have my email there, and you can reach out to me with any questions that you still may have. Anyway, with that, I will pass it over to Sharon for any closing statements. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Dennis, for teaching us about what we're now going to offer. This is very exciting. And for those of you that have worked with Dennis, I can tell you what, he is very knowledgeable on this subject. He was kind enough to provide his email address. So feel free to jot it down, and you're welcome to email him directly. Now, if we didn't get to your question, I do apologize, but Dennis will be responding to those via email. This webinar also was recorded, and we will be posting it to the YouTube channel for you to view again. So with that, I would like to wish you all a beautiful day, and we hope to see you again next time. Thank you.